MHA Podcast. MHA Podcast.
MHA Podcast.
Hey, I am hosting this show, Quinn.
I'm sorry.
You are taking the words right out of my mouth. Todd's drooling at the mouth. Let me get you a tissue right here.
I'm worried that he's Nick Foles.
I see the word regression plastered all over his stats.
Well, and I cheated a little bit here.
You bastard, how could you? This is a cheat-free zone, a Tom Brady-free zone, and you're funking it up.
If I want to win a fantasy championship, I don't want my quarterback doing that crap.
I have Theo Riddick in front of.
Okay.
What the
Wow. Eddie Lacy's going to be great. How could you, in your right mind, in your sane mind, Eddie Lacy's going to be great?
I don't like doing it, but I'll agree with Todd. I totally disagree with Todd.
Especially with Quain. I hate drafting next to Quain. I'm just gonna have that bottle of tequila right next to me. See, people should be listening to the show just to strategize around us. Hello, MHA owners. Just a week away from the 2018 Fantasy Football Draft in the Mile High Affiliates League. We're so glad you're joining us here in this final podcast before that draft. And so Eric Lansing, Mikey Renaud, Todd Diamond, guys, preseason games are underway. Injuries happening, some exciting football going on. Anything stand out to you so far? I mean, we'll talk about the obvious guys, but I mean, is it just more excitement? Are you excited to watch these games? Seems like there's some bad football once you get to the fourth quarter.
There's bad football when you get to the second quarter.
Honestly, I'm excited there's just football. That's all that matters. That's all I care about is it's just finally just some football to watch and kind of see all, especially like the rookies and stuff and see, we saw what Saquon did, that one run. We're like, oh, wow, So I'm just excited that there's football, whether it counts or not. So
how much are you trying not to let preseason influence your rankings? Are you, or do you use them to help you in your rankings?
I don't. They'll help me when it comes to rookies or guys that I haven't seen before. But other than that, I try not to let it influence me too much, or you end up with Amir Abdullah.
Yeah, of course, and he's one of the all-time greats.
Yeah, exactly.
Todd, I mean, you seem like you'd be influential if you see something happen. Is Cortland Sutton going in your fifth round? Oh, he's thinking about it.
Not really. I'm more. I'm looking more, like I said, like the rookies, but like some of the rookies I know that I think that are going to start. I mean, and there's one rookie, Michael Gallup from Dallas. I mean, he had a touchdown last week, but he's been getting a lot of good buzz, and obviously they're trying to figure out their wide receiver core. So I'm kind of, so like the rookies, like Mikey said, that for those late rounders, those. I'll say it again. I haven't said it so far in any of the podcasts, but diamonds in the rough.
This is a special segment by Todd Diamond. Diamonds in the rough. One more question. I mean, you guys have been watching Hard Knocks, right? Mm-hmm. How much do you try not to let that influence you?
Oh, no.
Jarvis Landry racing up your rankings these days?
No, I just watch that for the enjoyment.
I mean, he definitely has and after football, he has a career in motivational speaking. That's for sure. No.
So no Antonio Callaway.
Well,
they featured him a lot in this last episode.
Yeah. Well, it was fun. It was interesting. What they said was, by punishing you, we're gonna run you into the ground. Usually, it's the other way around. You just say, "Oh,
right,
go
lose reps."
Yeah, lose reps. But they just
sounds like they need him though.
Yeah. I mean,
I will say the one thing I will take from the show is that under Todd Haley's offense, they're going to be doing a lot more 2-minute drills. Mm-hmm. So I think that helps, especially we talked about, Mikey made a mention of it a couple shows ago where Tyrod Taylor doesn't really rack up those stats to get completions and thus feeding it to the rest of the world. I mean, Jarvis Landry, we all agreed that wasn't going to be putting up 90 to 100 catches, but at least if the offense is running in 2-minute mode, that might help that. So we'll just keep an eye on that. And the last time, what is there, 2? Or is there 2 more episodes, 3 more episodes? Was it 5 total, 4 total?
Yeah, I think it's 5.
5. So it's a fun show, whether you like fantasy or not, but obviously if you're listening because of fantasy. So what's on today's show? We'll bring you up to date on the news and notes, and there's a ton of them, and I'm sure we won't get to all of them. So make sure you keep on to ESPN, NFL Network, Twitter, whatever the case may be, but we'll get to as much as we can. Also, we'll answer some of the fantasy football's toughest questions. With only this show left to go, you may be wanting to know, what about this guy? What about this situation? We're going to try to come and bring you the expert knowledge. Well, some of us expert knowledge. Todd over there with his notes. He's got some notes today. That's good. So we'll try to answer those questions, and we'll mock through not just the first round, but 2 rounds of who should be going in those first 2 rounds, and that's going to be at the very end, so you have to listen all the way unless you fast forward on the bottom. Whatever. So let's get to some news and notes, and the biggest one of them all.
An extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, extra, read all about it.
Darius Geis, the second-round pick of the Washington Redskins, went down with a torn ACL. Will miss the entire 2018 season. Such a shame. This guy was shooting, at least from what I was noticing, was shooting up the draft boards. He was going in round 2 in a lot of rounds, in a lot of boards, because the stuff he was showing in practice. The run he got injured on was very impressive. Now we won't get to see him until next year. Are we rushing to get the next guy up? Samaje Perine, Rob Kelly, Chris Thompson go up your boards. Give me some of your thoughts when you heard the news about Darius Geis and now being out for the whole season.
It's sad. You never want that to happen to a young guy. But, man, I'm not rushing to get any of those guys. Chris Thompson, good third down guy.
Who's not 100% either, by the way. He may not be ready for week 1.
Yeah, Perine got hurt tonight in the preseason game against the Jets.
So there you go. Wow, breaking news.
So,
Mikey Renaud with the latest.
That leaves down to Fat Rob and good old Capri Bibbs from CSU.
So does that mean Alex Smith races up your boards then? Lots of throwing in Washington?
They like throwing anyway, so.
Yeah, but I mean, are we out racing to get Crowder or Jamison Crowder or Josh Doxson or Jordan Reed? Anybody? Anyone?
Jordan Reed, if he could just stay healthy, but that's a big if. And
yeah, we won't know that till he goes down with an injury again. But
yeah.
So I mean, does that make you more excited about Alex Smith? I think I'd probably move him up maybe 1 or 2 in my rankings.
Makes me less excited about the Redskins as a whole.
There you go. See, that's the answer we should be. But we're fantasy. We got to talk about fantasy. So anything else you want to mention? Anything? We should move on to the next one. This is not a huge note, but I put it in anyway. Terrence West was added to the New Orleans Saints roster. We talked about adding more depth last time. In terms of Shane Vereen. Vereen torn his triceps muscle in 2016 when he was with the Giants last year. So Shane Vereen, Terrence West, does that make you guys any excited at all?
No.
No.
Not even
I
close.
mean, we know Mark Ingram's out the first 4 games, but I just thought it was interesting. They're adding more depth to what's going on already.
Yeah, I just don't see any of those guys being anything that you can really use.
But what if
even in those first 4 weeks?
Sure, but so what if they're going to use Kamara as Mark Ingram and Shane Vereen as Alvin Kamara? I mean, that's 4 weeks of pretty solid
work.
production.
The talent level's not the same.
Yeah,
That's true.
But not enough for you to start him or
If you're starting him in week 1, you're in trouble.
Yeah,
Dylan drafted 4 tight ends as opposed to 2.
exactly.
So he drafted
Or
Shane
draft-
Vereen.
It's like me or you having our fantasy baseball team and we're out, and so we have to put Todd in charge. It's a downgrade.
Ooh, that's a huge downgrade. I don't want him touching my team.
Yeah, I am winning this week, by the way. So.
Oh, there you go. He did beat my boss last week, so good job for that. All right, let's keep moving since that's not very interesting news. How about this? I don't know if it's fantasy news, but I wanted to put it in there anyway. Darrelle Revis has retired from the NFL after giving wide receivers fits in the NFL for 11 seasons. Revis was a guy that you just decide if you're going to play wide receiver against. I mean, I think we all did it, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I have Revis. Obviously, if it's Julio, you're playing him. If it's,
if it's the top,
Reggie
the top
Wayne,
5, yeah.
you're playing him.
Playing all of them against him last year. Ooh, he was terrible.
Yes, last year. But overall, he was a guy that you thought twice about. If he was a tiebreaker, and so now he's gone. So we don't have to worry about Darrelle Revis anymore.
Yeah, and I think it's all said and done. He was one of the top corners of the decade of the 2000s.
All right, we'll keep going. Another ACL tear strikes again. Arizona's starting center, A.Q. Shipley, is lost for the season. With the offensive line already a question mark. Does this drop David Johnson down in your rankings?
Oh, Sam Bradford's going to die. Oh, my God.
He hasn't died already. Come on.
That's huge. That's a big note. I know it's an offensive lineman and it's not sexy, but offensive line is so huge. Yeah. Sam Bradford can't move already. They're already probably going to stack the box with a lot of people on David Johnson already.
I know.
And now with their top center gone, I don't think I have to worry about it. I mean, if David Johnson falls that far, number 8 to me, I'll probably still take him, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Probably you do.
But if you're up there in the top 4, top 5, and you're thinking about it, maybe, I don't know, with a bad offense, touchdown's going to go down.
I still like him.
Yeah, I mean, he's still that focal point of that running game, and
Have we not learned anything from Seattle? Have we not learned anything? Their offensive line stank and can't get a running back to do anything.
Yeah, so Russell Wilson had to do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, great,
Russell-
but we're not talking about Russell
So David
Wilson.
Johnson has to do everything.
That's different. Or
Hey,
that's a little
the
different.
special running backs can make.
If he can throw the ball too, then I'm all for it. But he's not going to throw the ball.
Here, let me give you an example, okay? And this
Okay,
might be
I'm listening.
me, jumping the shark, flying over a bridge. But I never remember Barry Sanders having great offensive lines.
Well,
He made his own work. He made his own work. Okay?
We're
The people
comparing
of that talent level can do it on their own.
It's one season of greatness from David Johnson. I mean, Barry Sanders is a first ballot, no doubt Hall of Famer.
Passes the eye test.
top 5 player of all. Top 5.
It's a
player of-
tiebreaker for me. If I had to choose between those guys, I may drop him down a little bit. Another offensive line injury. Anthony Costanzo hurts his hamstring again. Heffel hurts his hamstring all the time. They said he should be ready by week 1. Obviously, he's the blind side of Andrew Luck, so keep an eye on that.
Andrew
And
Luck's
speaking
got
of Andrew Luck, he's throwing the ball. He's in there getting action. Mikey is thrilled. I could just see his face right now. He's drooling. We already know how much he loves Andrew Luck, and now yes, you see it out there. So we know. So that helps Andrew Luck. What about T.Y. Hilton? Now we know Todd hates him.
Love some T.Y. Hilton.
So Todd despises him. He said he wouldn't even shake his hand in the middle of the street if he walked by. But so now, Todd, you see Andrew Luck running around, throwing the ball.
All right, well, let's.
I know it's one preseason game, maybe 2 by the time you folks hear this. This is Thursday night, but so does that move T.Y. Hilton into your rankings, even at least in the top 50?
It gets him in the door. It gets him in the door. It gets him in the door.
Someone is not getting T.Y. Hilton this year.
Let's because when Andrew Luck got hit in the first preseason game, he got up, he was smiling. Let's see when a real hit. Let's see when it's for real. Let's see if he gets up then. That's all I'm saying.
Worth the risk, man. He's a top 10 receiver when Luck plays. Okay?
I understand that, but it's so dependent on Andrew Luck being healthy.
So what? Let's say he plays all 4 preseason games, and they say he's 100%. What do you think about T.Y. Hilton at that point?
All right, and he's starting to climb a little bit.
He's not going to have that chance, though. Draft's a week away. You got to make your decision now.
That's a good point, Mikey. We'll see one more game from Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
Unless they play on Thursday next week, since our draft's on Friday. But, Todd, you got to move him up. I mean, you don't, and the rest of us will reap the benefits. But he is better with Andrew Luck. I agree. If Andrew Luck's not there, that's a tough offense. I'm saying I wouldn't put him in my rank. I'd still put him in my rankings. But T.Y., you got to remember what T.Y. The only thing I'll say about T.Y. Hilton is that he's not a red zone threat. Most of his touchdowns come outside the 10, outside the 20.
A lot of big plays.
A lot of big play stuff. So I get that to be concerned. He's not going to be a big-time wide receiver guy like Odell that could big play and catch in the back of the end zone. But still, he's still good to catch between 70, 80, 1,000 yards and 6, 8 something touchdowns. That's still top 10 wide receiver, maybe top 8.
Well, yards-wise, he's a lot better than that.
That's true.
I mean, he was leading the league. He was around 1,400 when Luck played.
I agree. I agree with that. It's just my basis is just the quarterback play, because I've had wide receivers where I thought, okay, that it doesn't matter who's throwing them the ball, and they don't produce. And like you said, with no Andrew Luck, it's tough. T.Y. Hilton's not the same, but if Andrew Luck is healthy and full go, if T.Y. is in the right,
you're not going to draft him. You won't have a chance. Mikey's absolutely right. Next Friday is the draft, and maybe you get to see him this weekend. So what if Andrew Luck finds T.Y. Hilton for a touchdown? He doesn't like it. All right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Not sold.
All right, let's just keep moving along. Poor Todd. The league's reigning defensive player of the year, Aaron Donald, is still holding out, hoping to be paid as one of the best players, not just the best defensive lineman, but best players in the league. He wants quarterback money. I'm not a big proponent of getting defenses early, but if Aaron Donald's not there, do owners need to be wary? Like maybe I think they're probably going to be the number 1, maybe number 2 behind Jacksonville, at least my opinion. But so should they wait now, or is it you figure that Aaron Donald's going to be signed by them? Because I think he makes a huge difference.
Aaron Donald's is a big part of what makes that defense go. And I know what they did in the offseason, with getting Talib and Peters and Sue. That helps. But Aaron Donald makes that defense go. So if he's not there for week 1.
So how soon are you drafting the Rams defense then? Do you like to draft defenses a little earlier than 16, 17?
I usually like around 12 or 13 usually, I think.
So if they're there for you at that point, you're still going to take them even if Aaron Donald has signed yet?
I think I would wait. I think I would actually go for. I'd actually be a homer and go for the Broncos defense.
Mikey, what do you think?
Look, I just have to put this out there for those of you that are thinking about drafting a defense in round 12 or earlier.
Todd.
We'll see you at the bottom of the standings. You guys might as well just start working on next year's draft because it's just not a smart thing to do. Wait till the end. I mean,
I wait for the end to draft a kicker. Okay.
If you don't get the Rams, who cares? Jacksonville, who cares? There's still great defenses like the Chargers out there that you can get.
Well, that's why
like the Ravens that you can get.
Not the Ravens.
It's not necessary. So Aaron Donald, it doesn't concern me whatsoever.
But do you think the Broncos defense would or
people know who I'm talking about too?
They all know because they'll do it again.
Yeah, but what happens if you could get the Broncos defense later,
DeMarcus Ware could show up, and play on the line with those two other guys, and I'm still not drafting him before round 16.
No, I would say if I could draft the Broncos defense in 13 or 14. No, not even close.
No. What you have to remember, while it's sexy to get it, the point differential, we talk about this all the time on the show, the point differential is not that big, not to mention how many times they actually finish where they're projected. Not to mention you're missing out on guys like Alvin Kamara. You could take a chance on him or someone like him who's a backup running back, who might be a scat back that you can put on your team, and if they explode, you're in the money. But you're never going to get that type of explosion from a defense.
Yeah. Every year, there's always somebody that pops up. So, I picked up Jacksonville last year, who I think was the number 1 defense in, week 4. They were a free agent. Nobody drafted him. So you're going to find those. It's not necessary.
So wait on quarterback, wait on defense. I know they're sexy, and you don't – because, I feel like the same way. You get to a point, man, I don't want any of these guys. I'll just pick my defense because I can have it settled. But, man, it just never seems to work out. Yeah. It never seems to work. And I'm also kind of the proponent of I hate streaming defenses every week. I want a defense in there every week that I can rely upon. But I'm not going to risk it and not put in a guy that's not sexy, but he's a running back. It's like, who's that Coates guy, Niehims? He's a guy that no one gives a shit about, excuse the language, but who may end up not getting drafted, but he could end up because Marlon Mack's not, he's not 100% proven. An injury could happen. He could be the Alvin Kamara to Marlon Mack's, Mark Ingram, whatever. I don't know. Those are the type of risks to take because those are the ones that make the difference in the end of the day. So that's something to think about. Also, a trade took place, and if you watch Hard Knocks, you got to see in-depth trade as Corey Coleman was traded from one bad team to another. So in terms of Coleman's fantasy value, I don't think we're super excited about that. We don't know really what to expect from the Buffalo Bills, but does it help the values of Josh Gordon and Jarvis Landry now that Coleman, who is kind of an early draft pick for them, they were trying to get him implemented. He was running with the first team. Now he's gone. Now we still haven't seen Josh Gordon yet, but it leaves it wide open for those two guys to lead the hunt, and Corey Coleman now out of the picture. Does that make a difference to you guys?
Yeah, it does. At least it does. It's pretty much the same. Subtracting and more targets and more catches to Landry and Gordon. Obviously, when Gordon ever shows up, and obviously that puts maybe some confidence in Antonio Callaway, who in the first preseason game balled out. So I think that puts some swayed some stuff into that situation. So I think that helps.
Mikey?
He's still Tyrod Taylor. No.
That's all he has to say about that. So that's something to think about. Ben Roethlisberger's in the concussion protocol. That could end up being a couple days or a couple weeks. Keep an eye on that. And so now we're going to talk about some bold predictions. I'll ask these guys to give me a bold prediction for a quarterback, a wide receiver, and a running back. I gave you guys a tight end. Do you have one for a tight end too? Ooh. No, they don't seem excited, so we'll skip the tight end. Quarterback, wide receiver, and a running back. Mikey, give me a bold prediction on a quarterback.
Well,
Could be positive or negative.
It's positive for me, and I'm going Andrew Luck, of course.
That sounds familiar.
Yep. My bold prediction is that at the end of the year, Andrew Luck plays all 16 games, finishes in the top 5.
Top
of all-
5. That's
of all
pretty
fantasy
good.
quarterbacks.
Oh, I like that. So
Yeah.
we've seen some good Andrew Luck stuff so far. Todd, what is your bold prediction on the quarterback?
Well, my bold prediction.
Oh, is it already the Kirk Cousins?
It's Kirk Cousins. That one that's bold. That's already embedded
That's
into
beyond bold.
Yeah, I know that's a little crazy. I know. Yeah.
All right.
Kirk Cousins is mine.
I'll let you get away with it, but that's one you've already mentioned. I'm going to say Carson Wentz finishes outside the top 20. I don't think he's going to come back 100%. In our league, points per completion is huge, and he's not a big PPC guy, if that's what you want to call it. He's more of a touchdown guy. He was on pace to be MVP. He was on pace to kind of be up near 40 touchdowns. I think that comes down a little bit. Obviously, him not playing is not going to help, but everybody's drafting him as a top 6, 7 quarterback. I mean, obviously, looking at other people's rankings, they're not a PPC league, but we are. And so I was never really huge on him, even if he was 100%. So I think he kind of falls out of that kind of injuries, not a lot of pass completions. Touchdowns are going to regress. I'm not a big fan of Carson Wentz.
That's pretty bold,
So that's
though,
bold.
outside top 20.
I mean, there's some bad quarterbacks, but
yeah,
there are a lot of good quarterbacks, too.
That would have to mean guys like Dak Prescott and Mariota, maybe even like Patrick Mahomes would have to finish ahead of him.
And I think that's totally possible. So think about that. And I just threw that up on the fly. So that's how much I love fantasy football. Wide receiver, Todd, we'll start with you this time. Give me some sort of big, bold promotion.
Michael Gallup of the Dallas Cowboys.
So we know who's drafting Michael Gallup.
Yeah.
Todd is in love with that dude.
Will lead the Cowboys in reception and yards, and he will also finish in the top 15 of wide receivers this year.
Top 15 for Michael Gallup. I just don't see it happening, but that's me. Dak, and I was just reading an article today about the Cowboys offense and how they're just going to be grinding out games because they have no one to pass the ball to. So it's going to be a lot of Dak rushing the ball, Dak rushing touchdowns, Zeke running the ball effectively. But, I mean, if their defense is not better, then they may have to throw the ball. But if you're just going to grind it out with Zeke, it's going to be 13-10, and they won't have to throw. But you never know. I mean, rookie wide receivers do not usually pan out. If he ends up just being half of something of what you're saying, he'll probably be better than every other rookie wide receiver. What do you have, Mikey, for...
Now I'm digging deep here.
I like it. Get into there. Get in the trenches.
All right. So Geronimo Allison,
Whoa, I don't even have him on my list. I love it. All right.
Green Bay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's going to be fitting into the spot that Devontae Adams was because Adams is going to be moving into the Jordy Nelson spot. I know Randall Cobb's coming back, but he's been kind of injury prone. But with the kind of volume that Green Bay throws at, and the volume that they play 3 wide receiver sets in, I think Allison has a decent chance to be a top 40, maybe top 30 wide receiver.
Okay. I love Randall Cobb, though. I'm a big
A lot of
Randall
people
Cobb.
do.
Yeah.
But I think Geronimo Allison's going to be the surprise guy.
But that offense can support a third wide receiver, especially if the running game's not going where it's supposed to go. So I kind of like that one. I didn't really have a wide receiver. I will say, watch out for Paul Richardson. I mean, if someone, I'm not big on Doxson. I'm not big on, I can't even think of the other guy's name. Jamison Crowder. So watch Paul Richardson. Okay. I think he's going to surprise some folks. All right, Mikey, let's go right back to you. Give me a running back. Ooh. Bold prediction on a running back.
Tasty.
Everybody loves running backs.
I don't know how necessarily bold this is, but this tells you how much I hate Devontae Booker. So I think that Royce Freeman has a chance, if they give him the volume, to be a top 10 running back.
Top 10?
Yes. I think that the way that the Broncos offense needs to run in order for them to be successful is a run-first offense. So if he ends up being the bell cow guy, then I think that he can have a really huge breakout rookie season to where he's putting up, say, 1,200 rushing yards and over 10 touchdowns.
Let me ask you this. Is it more about you liking him as an athlete, or is it more just opportunity?
It's opportunity
Okay.
and the way I think that they have to play.
Wow. So there you go, folks. For those who love the Broncos, which is pretty much everybody, Royce Freeman, according to Mikey, in his bold prediction, can finish top 10. Incredible. I like that, though. Todd, what do you got for running back? What's your bold prediction here in 2018?
Leonard Fournette will lead the league in rushing this year. I think especially...
Is that bold? Is that bold? Am I thinking? Is that
I think
bold?
so.
You think that's bold? I mean, they upgraded the offensive line.
And I think now...
Blake Bortles is not Aaron Rodgers.
Or Kirk Cousins.
Okay. Jeez Louise.
But I just
Okay.
think, but I just think too, just because especially with their wide receiver core losing both Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns, now you still have some young wide receivers that are...
But they didn't have those guys last year. I mean, he still ran well. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. I'm just saying
But-
that Allen Robinson, Allen Hurns was like 2 or 3 years ago. You ever forget how long ago?
Yeah, that's true.
That's one guy I don't get is Allen Robinson, but we'll talk about
Yeah.
him another time.
But but I think Leonard Fournette will lead the league in rushing. That's my bold prediction.
I don't think it's that bold. I like it. I'm not saying it's not a bad one, but I don't think that's crazy because they're going to give him the rock. And as long as he stays healthy, I think it's perfectly capable to do that. Especially in that offense, and especially the way they got that center, which I thought was huge. I say Aaron Jones will finish inside the top 20. I like Aaron Jones' athleticism, big game playability. Yes, he misses the first 2 weeks, but I think once he gets on the field, he could be a big playmaker for an offense that needs running back. I'm not a big guy. I'm not a big Ty Montgomery guy. Jamal Williams, he's kind of mad at me. But if he can somehow grasp a hold of it, Aaron Jones could be a top 20 running back. I don't know how bold that is, but that's as far as I'm going to go.
No, I think that's good though because anything with at least with Ty Montgomery, and this is kind of going back to the Randall Cobb situation. Ty Montgomery, we forget he was a wide receiver before he turned to running back. So he's basically a fourth wide receiver, a third wide receiver.
Sure, but if they have him listed as a running back, he still counts as a running back. If he's just a wide receiver, then you're absolutely right. But I think they'll have him as a running back. Okay, so now we're going to answer the toughest fantasy football questions that's out there going right now. And we'll try to go through these fairly quickly. We're about a half hour in. We still want to go to that mock draft where we go through the first 2 rounds. So I'll try to keep up the pace. We'll kind of go, and then I'll speed us up if we need to. Okay, so gentlemen, what will be the touchdown totals for Devontae Adams, who's going in the second round of most drafts, and Jimmy Graham, who's kind of going in that 4th to 5th round range? What do you think their touchdown totals are going to be? Because I think their totals are going to kind of fluctuate based on how the other one does. So, Mikey, what do you think?
I think they'll be close. I think Adams will be like at 10 or 11. I think Graham will be like 8.
Wow, 8. Whew. What do you think, Todd?
All right. Well, I already said in the previous the wide receiver podcast, I said Adams was going to have like 20 touchdowns.
Oh, that's right. You have the 20.
And then
That's bold prediction.
That's the bold prediction.
And Jimmy Graham, I think he's going to have 10
Oh,
touchdowns.
my goodness. You guys are out of your
Aaron
mind.
Rodgers is going to throw 60. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, my goodness gracious. Wow. I don't even. I guess I'm going to draft Devontae Adams in the first round if he's going to get 20 touchdowns. I kind of had it as 13 for Adams. I think he's going to be better this year. He's going to have more receptions. And that's the thing that always kind of kept me away from him. He was more like the 70, maybe 80 type of guy, but his touchdowns were always overwhelming, and that's what kind of pushed him up there. I think he's going to have more opportunities this year. I think he's busting out as a player. So I have him as 13. I have Graham at 6. Not a big fan of Graham. I'm not a big fan of tight ends in that system anyway. We've had this discussion, so I'm not big on Graham. Okay. Will Jimmy Garoppolo, 49ers quarterback, finish as a top 10 quarterback?
No.
No, not at all. A lot of people are loving him.
No.
We got some good weapons around him.
He does. I don't know.
Mikey, do you forget how amazing he was in the last 5 games? Everybody just loved him.
He was, but I like other quarterbacks better. It's not that I don't think that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have a great year.
But let's say everything pans out for him. Yeah, he plays 16 games. He's winning football games. Still don't think he would finish it because injuries are going to happen, right?
Right. but I think they want to run the ball though too. I mean, that's the Shanahan offense. They kind of always want to run the ball.
Sure. But Jared McKinnon's never done it. I mean, in terms of that much volume.
Yeah.
Like, he's supposed to get a lot. I mean, it'll be him and Matt Breida.
Alfred Morris.
Yeah, they signed Alfred Moore. Yeah, I know.
There's some news I did have on my sheet. So, breaking news, Alfred Morris is a 49er. But, I mean, still, so you think they're going to more rely on the run?
Yeah, and I don't like their weapons are okay. They're not like, I mean, it's still Pierre Garcon.
People love him, Mikey.
It's still
People
Marquise
love him.
Goodwin.
Yeah. He had a good rapport with Jimmy Garoppolo later in the season.
Yeah, it just to get top 10. I mean, you're looking at him having to throw like for over 30 touchdowns.
I mean,
Somewhere
Well,
close
here's
to
some of the
4,000
guys
yards.
that are around 10.
Okay,
Carson Wentz. Do you think he could beat out Carson Wentz?
sure,
Could he beat out Jared Goff?
but I like that offense better.
Okay. Could he be better than Matt Ryan?
Could, but again, I like that offense better.
So,
well, according to Jalen Ramsey,
but I mean, it's
he's-
possible.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Possible. Okay.
But you said,
But
what
you
do
don't
I think? So
Yes, that is true. True. Todd, what do you think?
No, top 15, not top 10.
Okay. Same
like
reasons?
I said, 7 games when they don't have a lot of tape on you, and you're like, it always goes back to the mindset when you're not playing for a whole lot, you're kind of taking more risks and everything. He did show in those 7 games like he might be the real deal, but let's see a full season ahead of him. Let's see what he does there. Let's see now that there's some expectations, because there wasn't a whole lot of expectations when he started those 7 games. It was just, okay, let's see what we got in Jimmy Garoppolo, if he's the real deal, or if we have to find another quarterback or draft one. So let's see what Jimmy Garoppolo can do full season.
I don't think it's top 10. He'll probably be somewhere between like 12 and 14. That's kind of where I had him at. All right. Will Drew Brees finish back in his normal spot as a top 5 quarterback in our scoring system? Or do you expect him to kind of be similar, where the running game was that offense and he'll just throw some around 20, 22 touchdowns, and it'll be the Kamara and Ingram show? What do you guys think?
It was a coin flip for me, because I was really, I don't know. Because obviously they want to be more balanced. They want to
win games, Todd.
And
they won games by doing this last year.
Exactly.
And their defense is really good too.
They mortgage their future a little bit too, but that's for another time. But
man, it must be tough to mortgage your future for a Super Bowl, which they almost got to.
Well, no, I'm just saying because they drafted Davenport and they gave up 2 first-round draft picks to get him.
Well, when you're trying to win now and you want a guy, but go ahead, finish.
But ultimately, I think Drew Brees is kind of the same as last year. Nothing too flashy.
Mikey,
I have no doubt he's going to be back in the top 5. He still threw, for well over 4,000 yards. I think that it was more his touchdowns. I think that's kind of fluky. I think that's going to go back up. So, yeah, for me, no doubt, he's top 5, top 3 probably.
I have it on here too as the top 3. The thing that's different is his pass attempts. So he led the league with over 600 pass attempts 2 years ago, and he was in the low 500s last year. And so, while I agree with you, I think the touchdowns are going to go up. I think it's just by nature. Last year was a down year. He hadn't thrown that much or that little, 23 touchdowns since 2007. I think that number is going to go back up to over 30. But, I wonder if the pass attempts are going to be the same, and it's going to be hard for him to kind of keep up with those top guys that need to throw it more. He has the ability. They have a great offense. I still said top 3, but that's just something I keep in the back of my head.
I think they'll probably go up. The no Ingram thing in the first 4 games, I think teams will have like more of a book on Kamara too.
Right.
So
how the defense has changed.
Right. So I think they may need to go to the pass more.
All right. So next question: who will be the highest scoring rookie wide receiver? What do you think? Is it Cortland Sutton? Boy, he's just been flashing it up in training camp. Training camp.
It would be hard for me to believe it would be Cortland Sutton.
Okay.
Like, as good as he's been, like the way that I think the Broncos offense is going to go, I don't think they want to necessarily be like a super flashy offense. That's why I think, to Todd's point earlier, I think the guy that may end up being that guy is Gallup in Dallas.
Okay.
Because they need a weapon.
Yeah.
And
I felt like he played that whole game, didn't he? He scored like the touchdown the first or second drive, and then he was at the end. He dropped, or it was close to him catching another one. It was at the end of the game. So they're definitely trying to get him some work.
there's a lot of hype on Sutton, but DT and Sanders are still there. I wouldn't sleep on that fact whatsoever. So, yeah, Gallup for me
Okay.
would be that guy.
Are you going to say the same thing since you're already a Gallup guy?
Yeah, that's who I
You
had.
couldn't even give me a number 2 guy since you knew you were already talking about Gallup before?
I didn't know Gallup was going to come up. I didn't know.
Oh, God, you love you some Gallup. Okay, I was going to say Calvin Ridley,
Okay.
but I wanted to go a little deeper, and I've been hearing a lot of great things on that James Washington guy. And I know they have Brown, then they have Bell, and then they have Juju. But, I mean, they've been able to accommodate a third wide receiver before. Bryant has put up some good stats, Matavis Bryant, when he was over there. So keep an eye on James Washington. I think he's kind of going underneath the radar. So that was my wide receiver pick. All right, so we'll go to a tight end question. We're talking about our toughest questions here in fantasy. So we'll talk about some tight ends. Gronk, Kelsey, and Ertz. That usually seems to be the top 3. But who is the number 4 guy? Is it Evan Ingram, Greg Olsen, Jimmy Graham? Todd saying he's going to score 50 touchdowns. It might be his, but just tell me who your 4th ranked tight end, or who's the next guy after Gronk, Kelsey, and Ertz. Todd, what do you think?
Well, I think I misread the question how it was.
Oh, really?
I know. What a shocker.
Did I write it down wrong, or did it?
No, but like,
Mike, did you get that question from me?
Yeah, because it says after. So
Okay.
well, I said I said after, but I kind of went farther down. I said kind of between Charles Clay and David Njoku, just because Charles
Guys that you like later? Is that what you're trying to say? Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So David Njoku obviously scored. Again, obviously not trying to take too much into preseason, but he did score those 2.
Yeah, you do. Love it.
And-
2 touchdowns and the Hard Knocks.
And plus 2,
Todd's
he's
eating it up.
And plus he's from you.
Oh, that's true too.
Yeah. So, but Charles
Big
Clay.
orgasmic meal right there for Todd.
Yeah, yummy. But Charles Clay is another guy too, because obviously the weapons in Buffalo over the years haven't been the greatest, and Charles Clay's kind of been was kind of Tyrod Taylor's safety blanket, but now it's obviously either going to be the Josh Allen show, who by the way Jalen Ramsey thinks is trash, by the way too. But
Different show.
But I thought that was really funny. But Charles Clay's kind of, you can get him later. He's a good value. Catches at least about, I'd say about like 20, 30 balls. I mean,
That's a good thing?
well,
I want my tight end catching 50 to 60 at the very least.
Well, just depending, but he gets a lot of touchdowns, is what it is, because they do like him in the red zone too as well. Obviously, I know Kelvin Benjamin's there, but
Corey Coleman.
Corey.
2 tall dudes.
Yeah, but I think Charles Clay just is that kind of that safety blanket, if Josh Allen ends up winning the starting job, I always talk about this. What is a quarterback's best friend next to a great offensive line? Their tight
Antonio
end.
Brown? Oh, no? Okay.
Well, yeah, Antonio Brown too, but as a tight end, so that's why. I go.
look, tight ends are terrible. So if I'm looking for a tight end, all I want is to be able to put somebody in there and not have to worry about it, constantly researching week to week. So I'm just going
Delaney Walker.
Exactly.
Oh, wow, look at that. I guessed it. Yeah, perfect.
I'm just looking for consistency.
So he should be the 4th guy off the board?
yeah, he's consistent. I mean,
He's getting worse every year, though.
yeah, but
Now, the
they
offense
still-
should be
They
better.
always look for him in the red zone. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
It was tough between him and Kyle Rudolph because it's like the same.
Hey, Rudolph's your boy.
Yeah, but it's like the same guy. You're just looking for, like you said, 50 to 60 catches. Maybe they get 700 to 800 yards. Maybe they get, 7, 8 touchdowns. That's all I'm looking for. I'm not taking a tight end before, round 10 unless it's just a super, super value. So, in my eyes, I mean, they're so terrible.
So you're going to be able to, I mean, just based on how the drafts are going, you'll be able to get Delaney Walker pretty late.
Yeah, I'm happy with
He has
that.
no upside whatsoever. And that's why I picked Evan Ingram, because I think he's got upside to be pretty good. He showed, usually you don't see anything from rookie tight ends, and he at least showed some stuff last year. So I think if there's anybody that's going to be able to take that next step and be better than some of those other tight ends, the Rudolphs, the Walkers of the world, I think he has that ability. Now, I'm like you. If I don't get a chance at those top 3, I'm probably waiting on tight end because I think there's a lot of guys that can do 50 catches and maybe 5 to 6 touchdowns. But if you're talking about upside, I think Evan Ingram has that ability.
Look at Eric and his upside. And I hope he does go Evan Ingram because it's not that I don't believe in the player. It's who he's attached to.
It's the Eli.
So when he's inside the 20 and you're like, come on, Evan Ingram, get in there, score that touchdown, and you know it's coming in the back of your mind. You know it's coming. You know it's coming.
Or this
interception in the end zone.
Or this time, or this time around, it will be just hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley. At this point,
that is definitely a possibility. Okay, we'll keep going here because we have some questions. Let's rapid pace this a little bit. All right, so guys, will Larry Fitzgerald finish as a top 10 wide receiver? Go.
No.
Okay, Todd. No. All right. I said yes, only because I think injuries will occur and he'll have a chance to jump up in there. Which Bronco back finishes the year with the most fantasy points? Go.
Royce Freeman.
All right, I also said Freeman as well. Will Andrew Luck finish as a top 12 quarterback in our scoring system?
Top 5.
Top 5.
I said top 12.
All right, I said top 12 as well. Which New England running back finishes with the most fantasy points, Todd?
Burkhead.
I'm going to go Michelle.
I also said Michelle. He's been dealing with a knee procedure, but seems to be doing okay. Which Dallas wide receiver will lead the team in fantasy points? Is it Gallup across the board?
Yeah, I say Gallup.
Upside, yes.
Upside, I said Beasley. He's going to have the most fantasy points. Does Saquon Barkley finish as a top 10 running back?
Yes.
Yes, but not top 5.
I said no. Darius, I had Darius Geis in there. We're skipping that one. We're editing this out. Is Mitchell Trubisky a top 15 quarterback? A lot of people are high on him.
No.
Yes.
I also said no. Come on, Todd. Mitchell Trubisky. All right, this is a good one. Is it Diggs or Thielen that has a bigger season under Cousins?
Diggs.
I also said Diggs. I was surprised. I thought you would go with Thielen.
I would. I think the change in quarterback helps Diggs.
Absolutely. Who is the next best receiving threat in Arizona after Larry Fitzgerald? Is it Bryce Butler, Christian Kirk, or J.J. Nelson?
J.J.
I think it's Bryce Butler. I actually think he's kind of underrated. I think he wasn't used as much as he should in Dallas, and so I think that he might get a chance here in Arizona.
I also agree with Bryce Butler. Does Seattle running back Rashad Penny finish as a top 10 running back?
Well, injuries, but
he's already dealing with a broken finger.
Yep, had surgery yesterday.
So does that mean no for you?
It's a no for me, but not really because of that. It would have been a no anyway.
Wow, really? Okay.
Yeah. I want to say yes, but this injury.
That's how tough this question is. Todd doesn't
top
even have
10.
an answer.
I mean that no.
That's pretty tough. But a lot of people like him because they figured he was going to get the majority of the work. Mm-hmm. So I still said no. Which Dolphins wide receiver finishes with the most fantasy points? Todd?
Stills.
I agree. Kenny Stills.
Sweep it across the board. Are you drafting anyone from the Baltimore Ravens outside of their defense?
Hell no.
I'm sorry, I did not put that other than the defense in there, but I was looking for a player.
Well, I mean, if it's, getting in there, why wouldn't you draft Alex Collins? I mean,
yeah.
Sure. Crabtree.
You were big on Collins last time.
I wasn't, but I mean, he's still draftable.
I agree. I like Collins.
And Crabtree's draftable.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah, I'm not touching the Ravens with a 10-foot pole.
No, I like Collins. I was just trying to get to see if you would actually say you like Collins.
Draftable. Okay. Yes.
Draftable is different than liking them, right?
Right.
Okay. Which Browns running back, there's quite a few of them, finishes with the most fantasy points, Mikey?
I struggled with
That's
this
a tough one. That's a tough one.
But I'm going to say Duke Johnson.
Wow, really?
Which is kind of outside the board, but I think he's going to... Like, I get this feeling that Hyde and Chubb are probably going to, split the first and second down. But I think that overall, Duke Johnson, I don't like any of them, but I think Duke Johnson will get the most points.
I said Hyde.
I also said Hyde. I think Hyde's underrated. Now, we haven't seen a lot of the running backs of the first 2 episodes of Hard Knocks. I don't know what
Yeah.
that is, but maybe they stink. I don't know. I like Carlos Hyde.
Yeah.
Which Jags wide receiver will lead the team in fantasy points, Todd?
D.D. Westbrook.
Good. Been a lot of hype on Keelan Cole.
There has, and they both kind of shined a little bit like late last season. But you got to give me one.
I'll take Keelan Cole.
I'll go D.D. Westbrook. Does Patrick Mahomes keep the Chiefs' offense as a cash cow for fantasy owners?
Yes, I trust Andy Reid.
Hell no.
No.
There's no. No, it's gonna be a long season for the Chiefs.
This is the fence that kills me
It's gonna have,
every
it's
time.
gonna have to. Their defense is not that good,
I agree, and they
But
could be screwed as a team. They could be really bad this year.
and the weapons are good. Hunt's good. Kelsey's good. They're bringing in Watkins with Hill. So
But that may not matter if he stinks, Mikey.
Yeah.
If he stinks, they're not going to be
you
good.
gotta trust Andy Reid.
I don't know. I'm on the fence. I'm going to... I mean, the part of me wants Travis Kelce, and I like Tyreek Hill, but it means I got to like Patrick Mahomes, right? All right, so I'll just say yes.
Patrick Mahomes has a gun for an arm. So
He
does
has-
Jay Cutler, and they
He
both
has like
suck.
8 interceptions already
Yeah.
in training camp. But I also heard Aaron Rodgers had 6. So take that for what it's worth. And finally, a bonus question that I didn't give you guys.
Uh-oh.
Will Todd change his mind on thinking Kirk Cousins should be the first quarterback drafted? What do you think?
He's stubborn, so he won't, but he should.
Oh, I'm stubborn.
You got to change that. No one's going to listen to our show if you say crazy things like that.
Well, maybe a little bit.
Oh. No one. Kirk Cousins doesn't think he's the best quarterback in the league. Okay, all right. So I guess that's a no. We're not going to be able to change his mind. Crazy. Okay.
All
So you guys ready to do some mock drafting?
Hell yeah.
So we have like 20
Okay.
minutes. If we're over, it's not that big of a deal. But let's not spend the entire day trying to figure this out. And I got to okay, I have my notes in front of me. All right, so Mikey, in our draft scoring system, you have the number 1 overall pick. If you had the number 1 pick, this isn't based on what everybody else thinks or who should be. I want you to tell me who would you pick if you had the number 1 spot.
It's going to be surprising to everybody, but just based on the consistency, and I know what I'm going to get, and I've never had to worry about injuries, I'm taking Antonio Brown.
Oh,
Get out of town. Antonio Brown.
we did have this situation 2 years ago with David Johnson. Because we thought David Johnson was number 1, and I had the number 1 overall pick in the mock draft, and I said Antonio Brown, and you all laughed at me.
I mean,
but
I'm
that's-
just too tired to laugh. I don't agree with Antonio Brown being the number 1 guy, but he's said his piece. He's never injured, although he is dealing with a quad right now.
He says he's not.
He says he's not.
That's what I like
Everybody
about
else is saying it. All right, so there you go. So we're trying to get through these fairly quickly. So Antonio Brown off the board. So Todd, who do you like at number 2?
Le'Veon Bell, probably the best running
Can't edit
back
this.
in the league. Does everything. Swiss Army knife.
Le'Veon Bell, not a crazy surprising pick there. And so for me, that makes it pretty easy. I would take Todd Gurley. I love his upside. I love his ability to catch the ball. Sean McVay loves to put points on the board. They don't pass as much as they do run, but when they do run, they give it to Todd Gurley, and there's no backup in sight. That should be focusing any kind of regrets on not taking Gurley. I love Gurley. I think he should be it's the second guy. I had him number 2 overall as well.
See, yeah, I like it.
You like it? You good with it, Mikey?
I'm good.
Well, you have the 4th pick.
Yeah. See, maybe I just tricked you guys on purpose because I wanted to get Antonio Brown and Ezekiel Elliott. So I get my number 1 receiver and number 1 running back.
So you were just doing it based on where we thought we were going to be drafting.
I'm trying to teach people strategy on this podcast.
Oh, okay. I see what you did there. I mean, that's going to be a little tougher with more than just 2 of us.
I know.
But Ezekiel Elliott, big season from him. You like him?
Big season from him. He's going to have the workload.
Will he catch
He's
more
going to
than-
have the red zone.
Will he catch more than 30 balls?
Yeah, I think he gets to 45.
Okay. I think that's a good number. They're going to have to throw it to somebody, right?
Damn right.
Todd, at the 5th pick, who are you taking?
I'm going David Johnson.
David Johnson at number 5. Do you think he gets anywhere close to what he did 2 years ago? I heard him say a quote that he wants to be a 1,000-yard receiver and a 1,000-yard running back.
It's gonna have to this year because obviously you got Sam Bradford who's made it brittle, and you have a rookie quarterback if Rosen wins the job. So I think David Johnson's going to have to do a whole lot.
Might be tough for him. All right, I just want to make sure. So my next guy, I would take Alvin Kamara. If you're talking about a guy that can rush the ball a lot and catch the ball a lot, there's a little piece of me that Saints management or Saints coaches, I shouldn't say management, coaches don't like Ingram. There's something about like going out and getting Adrian Peterson, and you really didn't need to. I think he's put himself in the doghouse more times than we actually know. So there's a piece of me that thinks that Kamara's going to go in those 4 games, kill it. They're going to be 4-0, and even when he comes back,
it's still going to be
they're going to
Kamara.
feature him maybe a little bit less. I'm not saying they're going to take him out altogether. I still think he gets some carries. But if anybody has a chance to be anywhere close to what David Johnson is in a full PPR league, I'm kind of going that direction toward Kamara. So that would be my pick at number 6. Mikey, you're at number 7.
Taking DeAndre Hopkins.
Okay.
He's a nuke.
Dude's an incredible player. He's one of those guys you would pay to see.
Well, yeah.
Because that dude he is a highlight reel, and it's so much fun to watch.
He's like Spider-Man.
He's kind of like Spider-Man. He goes up there, he's got the webbed hands, that can just grab those balls with one hand, or he can get on those sidelines and make those great plays. Man, just imagine how high his ceiling could be if Deshaun Watson plays all 16 games.
Yeah, it's pretty
He
high.
could put up some incredible set. If Watson gets back to what he did in those 5 games, whew, that is exciting to think and see what could happen there.
Could he put up like numbers like Calvin Johnson in his heyday? Like even
Well, he gets that
I think he gets
170
up-
targets every year.
Yeah, so
Okay.
definitely so. Okay, Todd, you're up at number 8. Who would you take there after Hopkins?
I'm gonna go wide receiver. I'm gonna go Julio Jones.
Oh, my goodness. The first crazy pick of the draft outside of Antonio Brown. I guess that's number 2. Julio Jones this early, huh? Well, why is that?
I think this year, just the way that offense is, and I think Matt Ryan, gonna have a little bounce back year, because we always talk about, when they have the year before when with their quarterbacks and have crappy seasons, and they come back and just tear it up. So I think Julio's gonna surprise a lot of people.
But they drafted your boy Calvin Ridley. That's going to take some away, right? He didn't have that many he does not a big touchdown score.
But it's still.
A couple years ago he was really big on some receptions.
Yeah, but I think but Julio still can put up those big numbers for you.
All right, so Todd loving the Falcons offense. That's back to me at number 9. Next guy I have on my board, and I've been going back. You guys have no idea. I've been going back and forth on Melvin Gordon and Kareem Hunt. Where do you guys think I'm at right now?
Well,
what was the last time you heard me talk? Who was I really pulling for last time you talked to me?
you were pulling for Gordon, but I've always been on the Hunt side of that argument.
Yeah.
Right, and we had that discussion on the podcast, and then I went and saw some highlights on YouTube to see if that would help decipher. And Mikey was right. Gordon's more of that bullish type of, he's going to bull through you a little bit, but he's still got some speed. Kareem Hunt's more of a finesse guy. He breaks some tackles. There's no doubt about that. But I'm going to go with Melvin Gordon at this point. I think the offense is better. I'm just not on Patrick Mahomes. I'm trying to. I'm really trying. So, but I'm going to go with the Phillip Rivers, who's there. I think Gordon's going to get more catches with Hunter Henry gone. I'm not sold on Mike Williams. I think there's a possibility Mike Williams could do something, but you got to see it.
Yeah.
So I think Gordon could have touches out the wazoo, and he's the only running back. They have Eckler, but I don't think he's a guy that's going to come in and be a scat back and take carries away. So as of this moment, it could change in a week because I've been going back and forth. But if anything, Kareem Hunt, there's a lot of weapons. If that offense runs well, there's a lot of weapons taken away from him. So I'm going with Melvin Gordon. That's what I think at this point. Mikey, what do you think?
I like it because then that leaves me with Kareem Hunt.
There
So
you
I'll
go. You're taking Kareem Hunt right after
I'll
that?
take him. Yep. Like I said, I trust that Andy Reid offense.
Man, oh,
and
man.
I especially trust it with running backs. Running backs just don't fail in that offense. You can go back to, LaShawn McCoy, Jamal Charles, Kareem Hunt last year, Correll Buckhalter, Brian Westbrook. Running backs and Andy Reid offenses are awesome.
Go hand in hand, and hand in chicken wing. So, Todd, coming down to the end of the first round here, who's left on the board? Who's after Kareem Hunt?
Leonard Fournette.
Okay, that's not surprising. You've talked him up
he-
already.
Yeah, he's gonna be the bell cow pretty much in that offense.
How much are you scared he's going to get injured? He's dealt with injuries in college. He dealt with, was it a foot or an ankle last year? And those are the worst things to get hurt, at least as a running
But
back.
it didn't slow him down.
He's not a big PPR guy,
Yeah, but he's
and
still
you have some good PPR possibilities out there. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I just want to hear what you have to say.
But I think he still racks up enough points where you can overcompensate for the PPR stuff. Because there's nobody else that's gonna take especially touchdowns and goal line touchdowns away from him too.
So you're not worried that Jacksonville regresses and not even be a good team next year? What if Blake Bortles just screws it all up? What if the defense is not as good as they were last year? That's a real possibility.
I think the defense knows what they have in Blake Bortles, so I think their level's still gonna be high, and and I think Blake Bortles knows too. He does have a bell cow running back, so he doesn't have to do a whole lot. So that'll help a little bit when it comes to the passing game. But I think Leonard Fournette, is gonna, like I said, gonna have that great season.
Todd is on the Fournette bandwagon for sure. So I'm going to have the 12th pick to round out the first round here, and I'm going to take Saquon Barkley. Incredible he's fallen this far. He's got every opportunity to do it. He's a running back. We've seen him in preseason. We've seen him in training camp. We've seen what he's. I watched some of his clips on YouTube. It's hard to say pass the eye test until he gets into games. I'm not ready to say that yet. But if he can catch the ball even a little, if he can get 40 receptions and get the type of volume that he's going to get and make that offense a little bit better. I mean, that's obviously the scariest part with Eli. Can they go down and score points where it makes it important? But you don't even need to as a running back as long as you're running the ball effectively, getting some catches. Maybe his touchdowns aren't super high, but if he's over 1,200 yards, he's got 40 catches, he's definitely worth a first-round pick. So, Mikey, we'll start with you in the second round then.
Cool. All right. So first pick, second round, I'm going to take Odell Beckham.
Okay.
He's
He
back.
fell.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, usually he'd be like an automatic first-round pick and probably in somewhere like that 6 to 7 range.
Yeah.
But
So this is some good value at this point. This
Absolutely
is probably where
good
he's going to
value.
go, though.
Yeah,
after those running backs. I mean, I would have him over a Fournette. I probably would have him over Julio, in my personal preference. But I think this is probably where he's going to go, is around this 12, 11, 13,
yeah,
12 range.
you know if he's healthy, he's just a target
Yeah.
monster.
And with Eli, he
Yeah,
still puts up
with
incredible
Eli.
numbers. And Eli's still there. So I think that's incredible. That's a good pick. I like that pick. Todd, back to you.
Devontae Adams.
Ooh, Devontae Adams, 20 touchdowns.
Yep.
Is that how many you had for him?
20 touchdowns. Yep. That's right.
So you think Aaron Rodgers is all the way back?
He's all. I think he's ready to go. He wants to win, and like I said, some of the interviews through the past few weeks when he says we've had crappy practices and stuff like that. He wants to win, and Devontae Adams, that's gonna be his number one target now. So,
All right, so we're in the second round. Let's do the first round. I'm just going to repeat the first round real quick in case you forgot. Probably what a good host should do. So in the first round, Antonio Brown goes first overall. And then Le'Veon Bell, Todd Gurley, Ezekiel Elliott, David Johnson, Alvin Kamara, Hopkins at 7, Julio at 8, Melvin Gordon at 9, Kareem Hunt 10th, Leonard Fournette 11th, Saquon Barkley, he's 12th. We're into the second round. Mikey with Odell Beckham. Todd picks Devontae Adams, and that leaves me, my boy, Dalvin Cook. Oh, he could be so good. He's one of those guys, like, I wonder if I should take him in the first round. Because, let's say he didn't get hurt. And he was putting up the numbers he was putting up in those first couple of games. He would go in the first 5, 6, 7, 8 picks.
yeah, he'd probably go.
He catches the ball. Mm-hmm. He runs the ball in an offense that wants to run the ball first. Defense is so good, they're going to give them opportunities inside the 10 after turnovers, and they're going to give it to Dalvin Cook. Sure, Latavius Murray is there, but we really know who the star is.
Dalvin Cook.
And I think he can put up such great stats, and I'm probably just giving it away to someone else that's going to take him somewhere probably earlier than that. But I love Dalvin Cook, and the only thing that's holding him back is his injury. That's the only thing. If he didn't get injured to put a great season, he would go earlier. So that's my pick on Dalvin Cook. So Mikey's up. Who do you have there? We're at pick 16, the fourth pick in the second round.
This is an unenviable position because there's two guys here that
At least you have two guys.
by draft day I'm going to have to make sense out of. And I'm going to go Keenan Allen.
Okay. I don't hate that. PPR machine.
It's between him and Michael Thomas. It's just it's so hard.
Yeah, those are two
It's
incredible
so hard.
guys.
But the fact that Hunter Henry's gone and you got a chance to see what Keenan Allen can do in the second half of the season.
Racking up those points.
Yeah, I mean, this dude, he was a first-round pick that second half of the season. This dude was getting close to 20 points every week. So, yeah, I'm going to go Keenan Allen.
I like that.
By next week, it might be Michael Thomas. But
yeah, you never know.
right now, it's going to be Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen. I love that guy. He's one of those guys I'm hoping that falls to me in that second portion of the second round, but it's so tough because he's so good. I mean, just point. Like, if I could go Gordon and Keenan Allen from the same team, delicious. Some people are kind of scared to draft guys from the same team. What do you think about that? Let's talk about that real quick. Would you be scared to draft two guys from the same team?
No, not at all.
So if it was Kamara and Michael Thomas, would you be okay with that?
Absolutely, because what you're doing in there is you're basically guaranteeing yourself the lion's share of the volume from that point. Like a lot of times when you're drafting players, if you've got a bunch from each different team, there's some weeks you don't know who's going to score the touchdowns.
Yeah.
But say you've got like Gordon and Keenan Allen, there is a relatively good chance, I would say close to 80%, that one of those two guys is going to score a touchdown that week.
Todd's got some breaking news apparently going on. What do you got there, Todd?
Packers, Jamal Williams suffers ankle injury in second preseason game.
Okay, so that's the second running back today with some ankle injuries. Keep an eye on that. We saw, you said Jamal Williams, right? And then Samaje Perine, he also dealt with an ankle injury. So keep an eye on that. I'm hoping to put this out tomorrow or Saturday. We will definitely let you know. So Keenan Allen off the board. Who did you pick, Todd? Did we have your pick
I
yet?
haven't had my pick
Oh,
yet.
so make your pick at number 17.
Okay.
Fifth pick in the second round.
LaShawn McCoy, please.
Oh, my goodness.
And LaShawn McCoy.
That is surprising.
Sean McCoy, another one of those running backs that runs the ball, catches the ball, especially in Buffalo, where you may have a rookie quarterback or a quarterback that's still unproven, and so forth. So LaShawn McCoy, I think there's nobody else really in Buffalo that I'm worried about, and LaShawn McCoy, still puts up great fantasy numbers.
Let's say everything works out for LaShawn McCoy. I'm not big on McCoy. He's a little bit older. Obviously, that stuff off the field, we haven't heard anything, and usually that stuff doesn't happen the following season anyway, if you go back to the Ezekiel Elliott stuff. But if everything works right with LaShawn McCoy, do you think he could be a good running back, put up good numbers?
Yeah, I mean, sure, he did. He did last year. But you could start to and I don't know if it was the Buffalo offense, just, the way that it was, but you could start to see a little bit of the downturn. Like he was consistent, but his yards per carry were going down. Like he was a volume horse instead of that big play guy.
Mm. And there's some value to that, but if you're on offense that's not scoring a lot,
yeah,
it kind of hurts even the volume.
And they don't even know who their quarterback is right now either.
Yep,
just scary.
That is a problem. So I think it's a little high, but I mean, if everything pans out, he can put up some good numbers. So my next pick is the guy Mikey was thinking about. Give me some Michael Thomas, the number one wide receiver. Without a decent tight end, target, all kinds of targets. He's got some of the best numbers in the first 2 years of his career than a lot of wide receivers in the history of this game. I think he has the ability to even be better this year. I think his touchdowns were low. And again, that goes back to the anomaly that we talk about with Drew Brees. So if Drew Brees' numbers are going to go up, his numbers are going to go up. I'd be happy to have Michael Thomas at this spot. All right, Mikey, number 19 here in the middle of the second round. Who's it going to be?
Going to go Christian McCaffrey. I mean, they say that it's his deal. They're going to make him the guy. He's going to get more carries. He's going to be on the field all the time. So I'm going to trust him.
You're going to trust him, huh? All right.
And I'm going to go Christian McCaffrey.
Christian McCaffrey. Lots of catching.
Lots of catching.
PPR, that's huge.
The thing that always worries me with guys like him is with Cam on the team, it hurts his red zone value because, he's a smaller guy anyway, but Cam's there to snipe touchdowns from him inside the 5.
Yeah, there's a lot of sniping going on. You're not worried about C.J. Anderson at all?
No,
He ran for 1,000 yards last year.
He did.
I mean, we saw it, so it wasn't like overwhelming. It's one of the quietest 1,000-yard seasons in the history of the game.
Yeah.
But I mean, they say he's going to be the Jonathan Stewart, right?
Yeah,
Jonathan Stewart had, 6 or 7 touchdowns last year?
he did. But I mean,
But McCaffrey.
But what's looking out there? I mean, I would still take McCaffrey over like a Devontae Freeman.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I mean, I like him at this spot.
Okay. And he's a running back, and there's not a lot of those. So, all right, Todd, number 20. Here in the second round, who's next?
I say AJ Green.
AJ Green.
Now I know he's attached to Andy Dalton, and every Sunday plays we shake our head like Andy Dalton has all this talent and just can't put it. I don't think that whole team sometimes can't put it all together. But AJ Green is still the number one guy there. Still Andy Dalton's number one target. He can still put up 50, 60 catches, and 10 or 11 touchdowns, for whatever it's worth. So I say Andy Dalton.
I think, in my opinion, I am undervaluing AJ Green. That I'm not giving him enough love. He's put up some great seasons. Last year was a bad season for the entire offense. There was some good stuff that came out of it, but he's put up good numbers with Dalton before. And so for me, when I'm doing my rankings, I have a real hard time deciding between him and Devontae Adams. Now, I don't have Adams 20 touchdowns, but A.J. Green's more of a PPR guy, and he's also capable of getting double-digit touchdowns. And there's no one really else. John Ross. Is it just John Ross, right?
Ross, yeah.
Who hasn't done anything yet. Tyler Boyd hasn't really done anything yet. Tyler Eifert can't stay healthy. He's still the number one guy, and he's put up numbers with double teams. So I don't know what the more I'm doing my research, I'm liking AJ Green a lot more.
Okay.
So I like it. So to me at pick 21, and I'm going to go with an important running back, Devonta Freeman. We'll take him. For someone who had him, he's got some upside. He's got some downside too. He's got Tevin Coleman behind him, but they always go to him first. I think he can get his catches back up. If a lot of people are loving this Falcons offense these days, bringing in Calvin Ridley. Sure, that spreads out some of it, but he's still the number one running back. So I'm kind of pushing towards Freeman. If I need a running back, it was like, well, do I go with him or do I go with McKinnon? And I'm going to go with a guy that's done it before. They can handle that load a little bit more. So I went Devonta Freeman. Mike, you're kind of looking at me a little awkwardly. Do you not like that pick?
No, I'm just glad because it lets me get the guy I want for my last pick.
Okay, and who is that guy?
So I spoke him up on the last podcast.
It's Mike Evans. I'm gonna punch
and
him
I
in the
know,
face.
and I know that he's hurt right now, but I'm showing him some love because I love him. Doug Baldwin. My last pick.
Doug Baldwin, ladies and gentlemen.
Doug Baldwin. Yes, we've heard your speech and how amazing numbers he can put up. He's the only guy there. All those touchdowns, receptions left by Paul Richardson and Jimmy Graham. Someone's got to get him.
He's getting them.
And he's going to get him. So Mikey's all over Doug Baldwin late in the second round. Todd, who are you picking late in the second round?
Adam Thielen.
Adam Thielen. Even though
I said
you said Diggs was going to have a better fantasy season.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
well,
You got to explain yourself.
a
And this is why people would say, why do you have Todd on the show? Because you got to be consistent.
So
You can't say one thing and pick another thing. If you honestly think Diggs is going to have a better season, you got to pick Diggs.
I think Diggs is going to have the better season, but I think Adam Thielen's going to have more catches. So I'm thinking more of the PPR part of it.
But at the end of the day, the points is what matters.
If you
think Diggs is going to have more points, you got to pick Diggs. If you honestly believe that.
I know, but I just Adam Thielen.
Todd Diamond. I have a couple guys left that I like that you guys didn't draft. So my top 24, I still have. Well, we'll take out Darius Geis. That obviously doesn't count. I had Larry Fitzgerald in my top 24. Jerick McKinnon, and the guy I had above all of them was Michael Evans. I did pick Mike Evans. He's done all right with Fitzpatrick. He's done really well. So I think at that point, if I'm trying to figure out which receiver, I think he's got more upside as Fitzgerald. I think Fitzgerald has more catch potential. But if I'm going late here in this round, I'm probably going Michael Evans over Fitzgerald. And I'm sure Mike is looking at me like, you idiot. But
No, I actually think
Mike
that's okay
Evans,
there.
Okay. So there you go. The top 24. I'll go over them real quick here. So Antonio Brown went first, and then Le'Veon Bell, Todd Gurley, Elliott, David Johnson, Kamara, Hopkins, Julio, Melvin Gordon, Kareem Hunt, Leonard Fournette, Saquon rounds out the first round of this mock draft. Into the second round, Odell Beckham, Devontae Adams, Dalvin Cook, Keenan Allen, LaShawn McCoy, Michael Thomas, Christian McCaffrey, A.J. Green, Devonta Freeman, Doug Baldwin, Adam Thielen, and we'll round it out with Mike Evans. So there you go. 1 week left to go. Get that Kirk Cousins thing out of the first quarterback. Change it, man. I'm going to have to kick you off the podcast. I don't want to do that. I like you. You're a good guy. Just kidding. But you got to figure out that other stuff. But anyway, I'm Eric Lansing. 1 week to go. We'll be drafting, and then we'll do a post-draft podcast about where you guys went wrong, where you guys went right, who looks like they're primed for the playoffs. Remember last year we thought Kilgore Trout was going to be a very good contender. Ended up winning it all. So there you go. Draft makes a huge difference. So we'll see you next time on the MHA Podcast. MHA Podcast. MHA Podcast.